and it is a resource that any student can use.
This newspaper started in 1959. It was a newsletter. And actually, in our newsroom, up on the wall in the corner, is our very first thing. It was an 8.5 by 11, sheet of paper, and it basically says across the top, we need a name. And at that time, the school wasn't even MATC. It was MIT, Milwaukee Institute of Technology.
One of the paper's biggest draws is its convenience.
We try and make it as readily as possible. In this day and age, convenience is king. Everybody wants everything as easy, as simple as possible. So we have several newsstands around the campus here. As a matter of fact, all the campuses on the inside, as well as we have outdoor stands now through a company that we work with.
Not just any story can make it in the paper.
So basically what we do is we get together, the editors and I, and the editors are students that have been on our staff for a little while, and we sit down and we get different leads. We look at the MATC calendar, we get different emails from different people saying, hey, hey, we're doing this, maybe you might want to cover it. Our focus is MATC events. There are a lot of things going on. This is a very, very big school. A lot of different things happening at each campus, as well as just the downtown campus. We go through the list. We decide which ones we want to put up. We have a storyboard outside. We put the stories up on the board. We have a meeting. We sit down. Staff goes through and we give a little description of what we have for our lead, what we're looking for in the story. And students volunteer and say, yes, I'm going to write this.
The paper is a good way to find out more about the community around you and covers a variety of uplifting topics. And the best part is that it's free, with no internet connection required. I'm Sean O'Donnell for Stormwatch.
Out there and wrestle them. I remember I had never got more nervous or felt that feeling in your stomach that you just did not want to go out there when it was against Eric or Matt.
Nice.
And it wasn't, that like I was scared or anything. It was just like I did not want to wrestle my best friends, and I could not do that. Growing up with Eric and Matt, we were all right around the same weight. I mean, I remember there were tournaments where we'd weigh in, all three of us, within a pound or two of each other. So it was kind of inevitable that we were in the same bracket multiple times every year, and I had to wrestle both of them probably 10, 12 times throughout my career. So going into our sophomore year, I think we all kind of knew what was coming. We knew that there was going to have to be multiple wrestle-offs. We had 3 of the top kids in the state trying to fill 2 weight classes, and they're not going to make another weight class just for us. So. It sucked that I had to wrestle one of my best friends to get on that team, but there's nothing we could do about it.
If you enjoy reading the newspapers, go check out MATC Times, and wow, I cannot wait to see that show. Well, folks, let's take a look at Carl Culpepper's package.
Meeting is located in 392 in the main building at the Language Lab.
World Language and Cultural Club. We're about integrating other people in the other cultures, understanding cultures, respecting other cultures and being respectable in the way we want to learn about the cultures. And upcoming events, we're planning on having fundraisers. There's nothing set in stone. What we're trying to do is send money to the World Vision, which is about other people and helping other people. Thank you.
Scare some people from actually going outside. Everything is not bad in the world, even though we have to be aware of the things that's happening in the world. But at the same time, I feel like the news puts it out there for you to just not enjoy your life, you know, and not be adventurous in that way, because not every place that you want to travel to is going to be. It's just going to be the same as it is here. You have crime no matter where you go.
Right.
You have people killing people. You have robbers. You have bombers. You have everything. You know. But I understand completely. You know how you feeling and stuff over there. But you know, I also have to think it's just like it is here. It's something wrong somewhere. You know. It's just. I guess it depends on where you go.
Well, my thought is that it was a very good experience sitting in on this meeting. We spoke of everything from travel to charity to our language and culture. This is Carl Culpepper from Stormwatch.
That I'm looking for. Irritating.
If you like to create your own sound effects, beats, or even music, there's a program here at MATC just for you.
The audio production associate's degree program is meant to train people to get jobs in the audio industry, anything from engineer to producer to post-production to live sound to sound install. We deal with people who want to be artists and record their own music and market their own music. It really tries to be kind of all-encompassing, a way to get people to be more knowledgeable about how to record sound, how to mix sound, how to produce sound.
I sat down with a couple of the students to see what their favorite part of the program was.
Man, it's a lot of stuff. You get to, like, I never did live, like tracking with like literally doing the drum or the guitar or the bass or whatever you do. I never did that live. I like sort of seen the presets in the software and that's all I knew. But now he teaches us how to do that out of our own home, so that's pretty dope to me.
The fact that you get so much hands-on training right from the beginning, and it's just the fact that these are guys that have done it before, and so when they teach you, it's like they're teaching you from experience and not just from a textbook.
With graduation right around the corner, I wanted to see what Matt does to prepare the students for graduation.
Personally, I try to not sugarcoat the fact that this industry is difficult to sometimes make your way in. If it wasn't fun, people wouldn't want to do it. And the fact is that along with being a lot of work, it's a lot of fun. And that means that there's a lot of competition, and really only the people that are detail-oriented and really know their craft are the ones that are going to succeed.
With that being said, I wanted to know if the students felt prepared.
Oh, absolutely. This is my first semester, and I've already have learned stuff that I've applied out at my shows, and it's already made a big impact.
I think this program had me almost prepared for graduation the first semester. That's how good they are. Because you learn so many different things, so different classes teach you different things, and they all kind of come together, even like vocal lab, piano lab. You see how it all comes together, because I always wondered how they play the keyboard and know the notes. Well, you'll have to know how to play the piano to know quarter notes and all of that type of stuff, so I like how it all comes together.
With this sounding like such a great course, I wanted to know what advice Matt had for incomings.
I think that if you're interested in audio, you're interested in audio production, there is not a better place to go right now than MATC, because we have a program that not only is going to be current and up to date and aware of modern music and incorporate modern music, but is not going to bury you in debt by the time you're done with your education. The worst thing you can do as a creative person is start your creative life having to make creative decisions based on debt and not based on what you would like to be doing with your life. And I think that that's the biggest thing that we can offer here, is a great education for a price that is not going to completely swamp you at the beginning of a creative career.
Now joining us in the studio this afternoon, please welcome Sarah Adams, Associate Vice President and Registrar of Student Services. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
So why don't we start off with your occupation in particular. So what exactly is the Registrar of Student Services, and what is the functions? What do you guys do there?
Well, officially, the registrar is the keeper of the records. That means we take care of all the paperwork when students enroll until the time they graduate. We look at their academic standing, we look at all their grades, we prepare their transcripts, we look at any verifications they may need for employment, for insurance purposes, just the whole gamut of their paperwork while they're here.
Right, all right. And so off of that then, why don't you explain the process briefly for people who don't know how to register for MATC?
Well, one thing we want students to understand, when they come to MATC, there are two ways really they can come to the college. They can come if they're interested in being a program student, and that's a student that's interested in graduating, actually obtaining a degree. But we also serve a lot of students that simply come to update their skills. Maybe they want to take the latest computer course or the latest IT course, whatever it may be. Sometimes they come just for photography or culinary arts. But if they want to go into a program and they want to graduate, then the students come in, they actually apply to the college through online processes, and they take what we call our placement test if they have not taken the ACT test. And once they do that, then we let them know where they're at in the process. They go through an online orientation, activate their account, and then they work with their counselor or their advisor to pick their classes for that semester.
All right, so quite a few requirements, but at the same time, I mean, it's very beneficial in the long run. So can people transfer credits and from other credits to like different programs upon registration? So say they were somewhere different and then they come to, like you said, update their skills. How does all that work?
Yes, they can. If, let's say, a student starts at another college and they decide they want to come to MATC, we have what we call specialists that will actually look at their transcript, and wherever the classes they've had, wherever they will fit in their new program, then those specialists will do what we call, they'll transfer those credits in to see if it matches their requirements. And for our students here, let's say, for instance, they're interested in another program, we have what we called online, a proposed program. They can go in themselves through our online system and simply put in the program they're interested in, and it will show them where the credits that they've taken here, where they transfer into the new program.
Oh, that's great. It makes everything a lot more accessible then. So is there any help students can get from other people when registering for classes other than the services offered here at MATC?
Oh yes, we have our welcome centers, we have our call center, we have a centralized call center where students can call in, and they actually can do the majority of everything from home. They can, if they have questions on how to log in, our staff will talk them through that process. If they want to come in, we have staff on hand that can actually sit them at a computer and talk them through the process. They are very familiar with the programs. They're familiar with what we call an academic plan, which is a plan that lists all the courses students have to take in order to graduate. So they're very familiar with that, to inform the student how to read those plans, and just to give them general information if they actually need to go to the schools to speak with individuals there, because each school, like the School of Health Sciences, the School of Liberal Arts, they have what we call specialists in the departments, and those specialists are also willing and able to help our students.
All right. Well, upon that and upon registering and applying, is it recommended that students take the AccuPlacer, and how does that affect the registration process for them then?
Well, we do, if the student has not taken the ACT when they come, or they haven't taken the placement test, then we do require that we ask them to take the AccuPlacer. And the thing about taking the AccuPlacer, it's not a test to keep you out of MATC.
Right.
It's a test simply to let us know where to start. It lets us know what class you need to start with. That's the purpose of the AccuPlacer. And it allows you, for instance, there's a portion of the AccuPlacer that tests you on math. And maybe you need to take Math 231, which is like a calculus.
Right. Yeah.
Well, some of us can't start at calculus. We may need to start at algebra. So it'll let us know that maybe this person needs to start at like an algebra 200 or an algebra 191 to work themselves up to a algebra 231. And that's the purpose of the AccuPlacer. And that's how it affects registration.
Yeah, a lot of students sometimes get confused with the whole, like, they want to keep me out and they want to make me pay more, but it's mainly just for, you know, the levels, because everyone's at a different level and at their own pace.
And the other thing that we have that goes right along with that is, let's say you're nervous. A lot of people get nervous when they get ready to take tests.
I know I do.
So, so what we do is we have AccuPlacer prep classes. So you do not have to go in there cold to take the test. You can come in, you can kind of do a little run through, you can see, oh, these are the type of questions they're going to be asking. And then let's say, for instance, they do get placed in a class, maybe they need the 231 and they're in the 200. We provide tutors, we provide academic support, we provide math labs, we provide all of these services to help the students be successful.
All right, well, and that's all great to hear. And so for the AccuPlacer, what's the difference for returning students applying and registering, and for first-time students registering or applying?
Normally the first-time students are the ones that take the AccuPlacer. If you've taken it once, we normally don't require you to take it again, even if you're going into another program or you're returning to school. That's normally a conversation that that student will have with the counselor. If they're returning and they're going into the same program they were in, they pretty much can just pick up where they are.
Right, okay.
They will get a new catalog year, but they just pick up and take those classes. If they're returning and they want to go into another program, what we suggest the student do is speak with the counselor, because that counselor will be able to see these scores. Yeah, they'll translate into this program, and they won't have to take the test it again.
All right, and does that count for students, say, who have been out of school for a number of years but have taken the AccuPlacer in the past?
It does. Now, there are times when it's best to retake it. That's why we ask the students when they're coming back, have that conversation. It's always good to have that conversation with their counselor to know exactly what it is they need to do, instead of, you know, maybe starting off on a path and take some classes they really don't need.
All right. Well, would you like to add anything else about the registration that we didn't cover just now? Any advice for students? Like,
the only thing I would say is, for our continuing students, register early. And the reason we say register early is because what happens is when students register late, we have to cancel classes if we do not have enrollment. And we provide them the opportunity to register early so they can get the classes they want at the times that they want those classes. And we don't charge you until like August. Like now, students are registering for fall, they won't have to pay us until the end of July, or make arrangements for payment, or have their financial aid in place until the end of July. So registering early is always a good thing.
All right, well, perfect. Well, thank you so much for all those tips and for joining us this afternoon. Let's take a look at Greg Clapp's package now about how he does anything to get out of registering for class.
Hi, I'm Greg, and I'm a chronic procrastinator. I wait until the last minute to do just about everything. I really hate registering for classes and will do just about anything to avoid it. Feeling down on myself for not registering, I asked other students what they knew about the process. Many MATC students don't even know when they can begin registering. Don't believe me? Take a look. Do you know when you can begin registering?
Yeah, I think at like the beginning of each semester, right?
Do you know when you can begin registering for classes?
After you get your financial aid.
Brian, do you know when you can begin registering?
You can begin registering right now.
Well, at least one student knew that registration was now open. Let's see if any know the first steps to registration. Do you know the first step in registering for classes?
Waiting in line at student services.
Do you know what the first step to registering for classes?
I'll talk to my parents.
What is the first step in registering for courses?
I'm pretty sure you have to go see your academic advisor.
So, what should students do so they aren't overwhelmed by the prospect of registration? One of the most important things to do is to speak with your advisor. Your academic advisor will work with you to ensure that you are registering for all the right classes so that you can graduate on time and minimize your cost. Don't think that visiting your academic advisor is important? Many students at MATC don't even know what courses to sign up for. How do you know which classes you should register for?
I'll just take what my friends are taking.
How do you know which classes you should register for?
I'm just going to go with the ones that are easiest.
How do you know which courses you need to register for?
You look at your academic plan.
Don't be a chronic procrastinator like me. Register for your summer and fall courses today. For Stormwatch, I'm Greg Clapp.
Well, after watching that package, that should inspire students to stop procrastinating and go register for classes. Well, this next package is on a very touching topic, police brutality. Let's take a look.
Police brutality has become a huge issue here in Milwaukee, but the MATC Student Union is hoping to make a difference. The Student Union at MATC is known for having a voice in the community, with holding special events and protests. On April 12th, they held a workshop on how to help prevent police brutality.
Well, we wanted to have a community event in which we address police brutality because it's something that we see so often, especially in TV, in our communities even, closer to home. And we want to look at it from a different perspective, an anti-capitalist perspective, as why this is happening, how it's affecting our communities, and how we can resist it and actually stand side by side with our neighbors and not let capitalism divide us any further. Police officers are supposed to be our public servants, here to protect us, but our communities are being targeted specifically, and it's an issue that needs to be addressed. And if the city doesn't want to address it, somebody else has to address it.
The speakers at the event included Jared English from the ACLU and Nate Hamilton.
When they oppress us, when they push us down and they deny us our rights, they do that 24/7. They don't take a day off doing that.
Document everything that occurs, time, date, place, the officer's name, and badge numbers. I'm sure you guys have heard about that. The last few weeks there was an incident during a protest for a presidential candidate at UWM a few weeks ago where officers were covering their badges.
Those who attended the event felt more knowledgeable and informed on their civil rights.
Well, I learned a lot first from the ACLU about what it means to know your rights, what it means to the Fifth Amendment and the Fourth Amendment. The fifth being the right to not incriminate yourself, and the fourth of not consenting to searches of your person or your property. So it's really dynamic. That was Jared English. And then we had a couple of community leaders, so it was a lot I learned. It was a lot to process, but it was a great meeting.
I learned a lot. There was a lot of things I learned about our rights as a people, as minorities, white, black, Chicano, whatever. It was very informative. I took a lot of information. I'm glad I came.
Knowing your rights can definitely save your life. For Stormwatch, I'm Emmanuel Espino.
That story really makes me want to stand up for my rights, and other students would want to fight for their rights as well against police brutality. Well, now let's take a look at what's coming up this week on MATC campuses. Tuesday, April 19th, 7:45, open registration for summer and fall for all campuses. Whoever is looking to sign up for classes, the deadline is quickly approaching, so make sure you register. Live Tavis Smiley recording in the Cooley Auditorium at 12:45. Students are allowed at the downtown campus. I would take full advantage of this opportunity to see a live taping. Wednesday, April 20th, Student Government Neighborhood Cleanup for Earth Day, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Let's help our student government clean up our community. This is a great opportunity to get out of the house on a beautiful day. Thursday, April 21st, 5-Star Food and Wine Evening, 6th Street Bakery and Cafe, 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Taste all the wine you want here at MATC. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this week's edition of Stormwatch. Tune in next week to see more wonderful student productions. Have a great afternoon.